because under the previous administration, 20 million illegal aliens crossed this country. Many who were sick, many were ill. Yeah, check it out. Don't be dumb. It's real. Okay, the radical left's gender ideology experiment on America's
Committee will be in
children.
order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Arizona. You had your 5 minutes, or if you haven't, I'll make sure you get it, but the gentleman controls the time.
Sure is fun when they don't like to hear the truth, isn't it? Radical left's gender ideology experiment on America's children has gone too far. It's time we held them accountable. For years, so-called gender specialists and activist clinics have pushed dangerous puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and mutilating surgeries on children in the name of affirmation. They told parents it was life-saving care. They told the public it was settled science. They didn't tell the truth.
This hearing started with a shocking claim about transgender youth and suicide rates. But within minutes, it turned into something much bigger. One lawmaker argued that transgender children are facing a mental health crisis and warned that restricting gender-affirming care could put more young lives at risk. Another fired back, accusing doctors, clinics, and activists of pushing irreversible medical treatments on minors in what he called a dangerous social experiment. What followed wasn't just a policy debate. It was a direct clash over science, children's health, parental rights, and the future of transgender care in America. Both sides claimed they were protecting children. Both sides accused the other of causing harm. And as the arguments grew more heated, the hearing exposed one of the most divisive questions in American politics today. Are lawmakers protecting vulnerable children or putting them at even greater risk? Let's dive in.
Some facts, because I don't want to operate on feelings. I want to operate on facts. Trans youth face some of the highest suicide risk of any other youth groups in this country. Nearly half of trans and non-binary young people seriously consider attempting suicide each year. The actual number is 46%, but I don't see y'all trying to propose anything to make sure that we can assist these children. Suicide actual attempts. We know that a study showed that 1 in 5 trans or non-binary youth have attempted suicide just in the past year. Over their lifetimes, up to 40% of transgender individuals report suicide attempts. And states that passed laws banning gender-affirming care saw suicide attempts by transgender youth increase by up to 72%. So if you want to protect children and youth, maybe consider what is actually happening. You are absolutely not protecting their mental health, and you're absolutely not providing mental health resources, because we know that Republicans hate to put money into mental health, but they blame every travesty that we see on mental health. We also know that measles, which unfortunately have started to kill children in this country because it's back on the rise, y'all haven't decided to have a hearing or pass a bill to make sure that we could eradicate measles, which was eradicated before the Republicans got back in control. TB is up. Whooping cough is up. Listen, Pramila asked earlier, why are we doing this? I can tell you, we're doing this because the midterms are coming. And you don't want to talk about the actual problems, because you guys are the ones that have caused the vast majority of the problems that we're dealing right now.
Gentleman from Arizona is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, just to point out that TB, measles, and whooping cough, those are coming back as communicable diseases at a high rate. Why? Because under the previous administration, 20 million illegal aliens crossed this country. Many who were sick, many were ill. Yeah, check it out. Don't be dumb. It's real. Okay, the radical left's gender ideology experiment on America's
Committee will be in
children.
order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Arizona. You had your 5 minutes, or if you haven't, I'll make sure you get it, but the gentleman controls the time.
Sure is fun when they don't like to hear the truth, isn't it? Radical left's gender ideology experiment on America's children has gone too far. It's time we held them accountable. For years, so-called gender specialists and activist clinics have pushed dangerous puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and mutilating surgeries on children in the name of affirmation. They told parents it was life-saving care. They told the public it was settled science. They didn't tell the truth. This bill is personal. It's named for Chloe Cole, a brave young woman who was rushed into this destructive path as a minor by gender specialists promoting affirmation at all cost. She suffered permanent harm, and now she's fighting back, and so are we. The Chloe Cole Act gives victims and their parents a real private right of action to sue the doctors, hospitals, and clinics that performed or facilitated these experimental interventions on minors. It covers the full arsenal of so-called gender-affirming care. The bill is crystal clear. Sex is biological, immutable, and determined at conception. The bill draws a hard line: no more chemical castration and surgical mutilation of minors. It isn't about adults making choices. This is about protecting innocent children from barbaric, irreversible procedures pushed by a radical gender cult. This ideological butchery stops here. As a co-sponsor of the Chloe Cole Act, I stand with Chloe and every detransitioner demanding accountability. Protect our children and stop this madness, and deliver accountability for the victims. Mr. Chairman, I have several UCs. Mr. Chairman, I have several UC requests.
Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you. This is an article called "What I Suffered Being Transgender." I'm suing the people who did this to me.
Without objection.
UCLA student sues doctors, says she was fast-tracked for gender transition at age 12.
Without objection.
Article by Chloe Cole: the medical system pushed transgender surgery on kids. Now it's facing legal justice.
Without objection.
What makes this hearing so explosive isn't just the politics, it's the fact that both sides claim they're trying to protect children, yet they completely disagree on what protection actually means. On one side, lawmakers argue that transgender youth face a mental health crisis. They point to suicide statistics and claim that restricting gender-affirming care can make vulnerable young people even more at risk. On the other side, critics argue that children are being pushed toward life-altering medical decisions before they're old enough to fully understand the consequences. They say the real danger isn't denying treatment, it's providing treatments that may have permanent effects. And that's where this debate becomes incredibly difficult. Because this isn't a simple argument between good and bad, it's a clash between two competing fears. One side fears that denying gender-affirming care could lead to depression, self-harm, and suicide. The other fears that children may undergo irreversible medical interventions and later regret those decisions. In my view, that's exactly why this issue remains one of the most controversial debates in America today. Both sides are talking about protecting children, but they're focused on completely different risks. And when the debate starts from two very different definitions of harm, finding common ground becomes incredibly difficult. The hearing became even more heated when immigration, public health, and election year politics entered the discussion. At that point, the conversation shifted away from science and into a broader political battle over who is responsible for America's biggest problems. Personally, I think this was one of the most revealing moments of the hearing. Instead of focusing exclusively on the original issue, the discussion expanded into a wider political fight. That shows just how emotionally charged and politically sensitive this topic has become. What's striking is how both sides accuse the other of ignoring evidence. One side says the data proves gender-affirming care saves lives. The other says the medical establishment has ignored growing concerns from detransitioners and families who feel they were misled. And that's something I think many viewers notice when watching debates like this. Both sides claim the facts support their position, yet they reach completely different conclusions. For many people, that only makes the issue more confusing and more polarizing. For viewers watching this debate, the biggest question may not be who shouted the loudest. The real question is this: how should society balance protecting vulnerable children today while also protecting them from decisions that could affect the rest of their lives? In my opinion, that's the question lawmakers, doctors, parents, and voters are still struggling to answer. And until there's broader agreement on that question, debates like this are likely to remain highly emotional and deeply divisive. That's the question at the center of this controversy. And it's a question that continues to divide lawmakers, doctors, parents, and voters across the country. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were making policy for children, what would concern you more: restricting treatments that some believe are necessary, or allowing medical interventions that could have lifelong consequences. Do you believe these policies are protecting children, or has this issue become another political battleground? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future political hearings, breaking news, and in-depth commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.